everybody. My name is Angelle Hall. I am the Director of Campus Ministry here. I've been here 8 years, in the 8th year. I'm married. I just had an anniversary 2 days ago. Yeah, no, not 2, like literally yesterday. And I have a sweet and precocious 6-year-old. So he'll hear. His name's Huckleberry. Named after Huckleberry Finn. He's here. All right. Okay. So I'm here to talk to you about Advent. And before we get to that, I just want to ask you a couple questions. Have you ever had anyone come to visit you? I hope so. Have you ever had someone come to visit you, maybe you hadn't seen in a while, and like Claire came tonight. She's back from South Africa. Sorry. Everyone going to come to visit you. Like, what are some of the things that you do? What happens in you? Like, okay, someone's coming to visit you. They're coming to stay with you for a while. Clean the house. Clean the house, yes. What else? Take a shower. Yes. Clean yourself, clean your house. What else? What else do you do when someone's coming to visit you?
Buy food.
Buy food? Yes. Father Joseph?
Wear purple.
Wear purple.
Light candles.
Like one good smell. Put a tree up if it's Christmas. Anything else? Do you show them around? So you make plans for their time with you and how they can be very, very comfortable, all that good stuff. Good. I had this experience recently. My son had a birthday in November, and my 2 sisters and some of their children came to visit us. Also, my mother-in-law and my brother-in-law came for his birthday party. So, I have a tiny house, I really do. So, but we found a way to sleep 2 more adults and 4 more kids, including a baby. And anyway, but so we had this experience, and let me tell you, since I am very much on the college calendar, I hadn't really cleaned certain parts of my house as well, since August, like my kitchen. So I probably spent 6 hours in my kitchen that week, literally. But so cleaned the house, made sure we had enough to eat for everybody, all that kind of stuff, places for people to sleep. Pretty excited about them coming. I love my sisters. I also have a brother. I love him too, but he didn't come visit. So. But I love my sisters. I love being with them. I love being with my nieces and nephews. I love seeing my mother-in-law, and I love just when people come to visit us, because we're always going to somebody else. So it was just really great. We really look forward to it. We knew that they were coming about 20 days before they actually came. So every morning, Huckleberry would wake up, go directly to the calendar, and say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is 12 days until they come. Every morning we knew the countdown, we knew everything. And so it's pretty exciting. And he was, I have a picture to show you about kind of the way he was excited about people coming. It's coming. There. Okay. Can you see it? See him at the window? This is what happens when I tell him that somebody's coming over. He has some friends that live in town, and I have to wait until just a couple hours before, because he will literally spend all that time at the window. Are they here yet? Are they coming? Are they coming? And so it's pretty fun for him to. This is a couple years old. He's a little taller now, but this is what he does. And this is. I've come home to that face in the window, and he eagerly awaits like that. So you might know where I'm going with all of this. So for us, of course, in Advent. It's not just that we have wonderful family coming to stay with us. We have Jesus, our Emmanuel, coming to us in Advent. Advent is from the Latin adventus. I'm probably saying that wrong, which means come. And so, we obviously have a lot of things to do for when Jesus comes to be with us. He's coming to be with us in lots of ways. Now, obviously, thousands of years ago, he came to be with us in a very as a human being. Now he comes in spirit and power in the Eucharist and through the church and through priests and all those kinds of things. And he's going to come again, at the end of time. But he comes to us in lots of different ways. like really does happen. So we need to be getting ready for that. And so something that I found that I think is really helpful to sort of frame this for us is there's actually this document. Wait, put up the next slide. I can't even. It was like it's like this something on piety and like popular piety and something is the, anyway. It's this document that the church puts out about Advent because it's like popular piety and the discipline of the sacraments. It's this, anyway, it's this blah, 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 blah thing. So, but it says, they say in this document that Advent is a time of waiting, of conversion, and of hope. And so I'm going to talk about those three things tonight. And so hopefully, if you come away with nothing, you'll come away with those three things. So that's good. So let's talk about waiting. The first one, waiting. Waiting can look very different depending on what you're doing. I don't know about you, but my husband and I do this fun waiting dance. Like, I'll be ready to go somewhere, but he's not ready. So I'm like, well, I got stuff I can do. Like, I'm going to do the dishes. I'm going to do this or that or the other, or straighten this, whatever. And then he's ready, and I've just got like, 2 more things to do to finish this task. And so he's like, well, she's not done yet, so I'll go sit and play the drums a little bit before we go. And so then I finish up, and then he's finishing. So like we don't want to like wait for the other person, just like to be done. So we like want to busy our time, and so that may not be the kind of waiting that we're talking about, and like waiting on the Lord. Also, you might relate to this. Have you ever been like waiting to check out somewhere, and so you're just thinking, like, what am I doing? I'm just gonna pull up my phone and look at stuff, and I feel like we want to busy our time because we don't want to waste it waiting for things and like looking at People magazine and all that trashy stuff that they put on there. Anyway, so we don't want to waste our time waiting for that. Well, this is not the kind of waiting that we're called to in Advent. The kind of waiting we're called to in Advent is the kind of childlike waiting. This kind of waiting. This is the kind of waiting that we're called to in Advent, and that waiting that slows us down. And really the best way that can happen is in prayer. And so it's really important in Advent that we wait on the Lord and we find ways to do it. And there's lots of different ways that we can pray or take that slowness to sort of say, hey, this is going to happen on God's time. And what's the Lord's agenda for my day? And what's the Lord's agenda? I'm going to wait on Him. And so because in this waiting, we see like this bigger picture. The second Sunday of Advent has this beautiful language that's like, a voice cries in the wilderness, prepare the way of the Lord. If we're not slowing down to wait with childlike waiting, we could miss this bigger picture. Like, hey, something's happening, something big and important. If we're still busy, like, doing this, we could miss it. So that stillness and quiet. The next one is conversion. So there's that really great song, Voice of the World. My son's in the Christmas pageant, and they all sing Joy to the World together at the end, and it's cute. But there's, you all know it. Let every heart prepare him room, and that's what we have to do. There's this preparing and writing of things that we're called to. This turning back. We can get really complacent in sin, or we can be holding grudges, or we can just not be taking time to pray, and just sort of like and that stuff piles up, like the houses that we let get dirty. We can let those grudges and those things build up and not really work to reconciliation or work to move towards forgiveness. And maybe we haven't thought about those around us, and there's all this sin and evil around us in our communities, and like, what do we do about that? It can be really overwhelming. And when we talk about cleaning our houses and all that good stuff, and when we have company coming a lot, it is kind of pretty much up to us to like really do that cleaning. If you know somebody that says, here God, here's my house, and God cleans it for you, well, you let me know. who that person is, because I want that to happen in my house. But that really is how it happens with us. We don't say, hey God, hey look, I got everything ready and perfect, now you can come. We come weary, we come broken, and we say, hey, there are things that aren't right with me, or there are things that aren't right with my community, or with my family, or with my friends, or with this relationship, or with that relationship, and I need you, Lord, to help me in that righting. And so reconciliation during Advent is really great. It's a great thing to take advantage of. But also, like if there's some broken relationships and, you know, maybe prayerfully discern, like how is God calling you to that? I'm not saying it's easy, because it's not. But is it time to act? Maybe so. Okay, let's go to the next one. And the third theme is hope. And I want to share with you an experience that I had last Advent that was really kind of a huge thing for me. It was actually very much like this time where Christmas pageant practices and parent phone-a-thon and end of the semester. We had a gala because our community was 50 years old, and I had gone home for Thanksgiving, but home for me is New Orleans. So it's not like I really got a whole lot of a break. So I just went home, yay, awesome, crazy family. I mean, they're not crazy, they're great, but there's like 11 grandchildren. So there's just that kind of beautiful chaos that exists there. Coming right into everything. And I was not feeling Advent. I was missing, like, talk about like missing the big picture. It was like very automatic, very much like in the motions. And so pretty much like now, except no gala, you know, like it's kind of like now. But and I was really scheduled, you know, a lot of things had to happen. And I'm pretty like usually aware of like things going on with me, but I did not realize that I was actually pregnant until I was like 5 to almost 5.5 weeks along, which is really unusual because I'm usually really pretty in tune with that stuff. And in fact, someone came up to me and said, "Congratulations! I heard you're pregnant." And I was like, "No, that's Joanne. That's the other campus minister." And then, like, I was actually 2. I just didn't know. And then I like, oh, I maybe should figure this out if I am. And I was, and it was wonderful. It was like so much hope, right? Like all the hope of a baby, and like we told Huckleberry, he didn't have a clue what it meant, you know, but like we told our families, and I was like all excited because my parents would have 12 grandchildren, like the apostles, like the 12 tribes of Israel, I'm like a religious center. You know, and I was like, yes, like this is gonna be great, and we were so excited. And then 5 days later, on December the 18th, I began to miscarry. And it was really sweet. Like my mom, actually, she's like, this has just not really happened in our family. I mean, like, there's 11 grandbabies, like literally. Like one was born like in the midst of all this stuff happening last December, and she's precious. And so it was a real like sort of whoa moment for me. And so like all these hopes and the thing, like, and this is like a good thing to hope for. You know, it's not, there's lots of great things to hope for, but sometimes, like, and in that moment, it was a real blessing to, not right away, but in the process of sort of going through it, like realizing like in that pointing to that eternal hope, you know, because the ultimate job of a mother and a father is to help their kids get to heaven. And in that moment, like that eternal reality and that eternal hope, like pointed me in that direction, and it was like, oh, well, I didn't do too much about it, but my child is with God. And one day, hopefully, me and a bunch of other people that I love and care about, we can all be together in heaven, and we can hold and rejoice in this beautiful soul. But it really pointed me to that eternal hope, and I think that Jesus really came to me last Advent, like in a very real way, because Jesus came to me in sort of all of the people that were there for me and for us as a family in that moment. There was this very particular moment in my office where I had Emily Shull and Joanne Shull and Emily Van Etten, and it was like DEF CON, like mamas, like uniting, and Emily was just precious and sweet because she's beautiful at being with people when they're struggling and in their pain. And it was just like a very Mary and Elizabeth moment for me. And the dental hygienist that I saw right after some news of things, and I was very raw with feelings, and she was just so sweet and hugged me and listened to me. I actually have known her a long time because she's been my dental hygienist for a while. So I don't just tell. But it was really, she was just so sweet. And my family and my siblings, and my brother was so cute to me. He just doesn't share a lot of things like that, but he was very sweet to me. And my husband and my parents and my in-laws and all that were just Jesus came to me in a very real way. And December 18th is the Feast of John the Baptist. It was also my grandfather's birthday. But the Feast of John the Baptist prepared that experience really did prepare a path for me into the heart of Advent, into the heart of Christmas. But it really pointed to that eternal hope. And I think in Advent, we always need to be looking way beyond. And that's what John the Baptist says, prepare the way of, something big is happening here, and it's bigger than all of the very mundane things that sometimes very important, sometimes very mundane, but we need to be pointed to this bigger reality that God is coming to be with us so that we can be with him. And so, anyway, I think for a long time, I love the signs and symbols of Advent. I love the pink and purple candles and all the music and the hushed tones and I love this time of the year. But it's always when people are Jesus is coming, it's yeah, of course, Jesus is coming, and it felt kind of distant. Jesus can come to. The final coming could be tomorrow. It could be generations from now. But I think that if we slow down and have that childlike waiting and try to set things right and bring our brokenness to God, then we can have the awareness to be ready for when Jesus comes to us in very concrete, specific ways in our own lives. And not just in our own lives, but as communities. Because Jesus doesn't come to us just individually. He comes to us together. It's not just about me. We're Catholics, so we love community. He comes to us. What is God doing in us? And that's always a big question that we have to answer together. And share when it happens so that we recognize that Jesus is coming to one another and we can see that in our midst. He is really here. So I found this list of things that could be really helpful for us during Advent. There's something, this is not the only list, but you can pray with an Advent wreath at meals, or, just if you have a bunch of friends, or if you want to get together and just pray together, whatever works for you in your college schedule. You can pray the rosary every day, or pray, if that's too much, you can pray a mystery and a decade of the rosary every day. You can pray the readings of the day. You can read a chapter from the Gospel of Luke every day. Daily Mass is good. You can use an Advent calendar. Newman has this great page on our website right now. It's got all this Advent resources. So if you just go to comonewman.org and look for Advent resources, there's a whole list of things that you can do individually and communally. There's lots of ways you can work to prepare him room and set things right as a community too. But you can kind of look at the resources. I actually printed off some Advent calendars, so if you're a person who likes a paper kind of thing, you can pick that up before you go. If we run out, then we'll get more. Anyway, but let us be ready to receive him, for how he will come to us, and let us look for him with joyful anticipation.